So I will share the screen. Please let me know if you can see the presentation, or if you can't see it, then let me know, please. So
yes,
can you? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. So my name is Andrea Ratner. I myself studied a bachelor and also master of biological chemistry. I was actually in the first year of students back in 2007. Right now I'm employed as a postdoc at the Institute of Inorganic Chemistry at JKU in Linz. So I would like to give you also my own personal experience. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask during the presentation. I will just briefly tell you why this study program is unique compared to the other ones, what are the main focal points, what you get to learn in lectures and also practicals during biological chemistry, and of course, most importantly, what are then your options after graduating this program. There are some frequent questions which students usually have in the end, and then you will get contacts to the most relevant persons with regard to this study program. So I already mentioned that the program started back in 2007. It is a cross-border collaboration between two universities, JKU in Linz and University of South Bohemia in Budweis. In total, it covers 6 semesters and it's held fully in English language. I have to say that all students are full students of both universities. So it means that at the beginning of your study, you will register both at JKU in Linz and also in Budweis. The first 2 semesters during the first year are spent in Linz. It is focused mainly on the basics of chemistry, but also some mathematics, physics, a little bit of informatics. During the second year, students move to Budweis, to the University of South Bohemia, where they again spend the whole year. And there the focus is on molecular biology, biochemistry, and biology. The last semester is again at JKU, but the 5th semester is back again at JKU. It's filled with some advanced courses, and in the last semester, it's a little bit more free because you have only a couple of lectures and last labs at the beginning of the semester, and last approximately 2 months are dedicated to finishing up of the bachelor thesis and preparation for the final state exam, which takes place in Budweis, and it is a written one. Because you are full students of both universities, you will also receive 2 full bachelor degrees, so Bachelor of Science from JKU, and the same equivalent, which is BC, Bakalář in Czech. It is a very international study. At the moment, I would say more than 40% of our students are not coming from Austria, neither from Czech Republic, but they are coming from other EU and a lot of non-EU countries, actually. So you don't have to be afraid that you won't find someone similar to you, so to say, because it is really a mixed up program. The distance between both universities is actually only 1 hour by car, even though it is already across the border. There is also a good connection by train and by bus. There are also convenient tickets for students, but as I said, it's another commute on a daily basis. You really have those split years where the first year is in Linz, the second year is in Budweis, and during the last year, students might to travel a little bit, but that depends also on their choice of subjects of the bachelor thesis and so on. So now I would like to tell you a little bit more about the University of South Bohemia, because you might not hear a lot about it yet. So it's a fairly new university. I mean, it is 30 years old, but it's fairly new in nowadays. It's quite modern. It has been modernized over the past few years with respect to its campus, but also the number of students is gradually increasing every year. They have a lot of new institutes over there, a lot of new amenities for students directly at the campus. The student dormitories are also located directly on the campus. So basically it means that you can get from your flat to the lab or to the lecture hall within 5 minutes, which is great. There is also option for private dormitories, which are also located very nearby, or a lot of students just rent out a flat together, because you might guess that the prices are very nice, especially compared to Linz. The Faculty of Science, which covers most of the lectures for our students, has been also modernized. It's been moved to a completely new building with new labs and top-notch equipment, so that is also very convenient. And the main focus during the second year is really on molecular biology, biochemistry, microbiology, and genetics. There are also a lot of guest lecturers coming not only from Budweis, but also a lot of them is coming from Prague, from different universities, or even abroad. And the big advantage is that the campus of the university is shared with a so-called biology center of the Czech Academy of Sciences, where you have a couple of institutes which always offer a nice topics for bachelor thesis. So in reality, most of our students pick their topic for the practical bachelor thesis over there, and they work on it during the whole second year, some of them even over the summer, not because they would be forced to, but because they just like the real hands-on experience and a possibility to really be part of a nice research group. So this pizza part is just to show you the distribution of different lectures and lecture topics over the whole study program of biological chemistry. So you can see it's not really 50% biology, 50% chemistry. It covers the various topics in the chemistry, from general inorganic one to organic, physical, analytical chemistry. There is also a lot of mathematics and physics during the first year or first semester mostly. So this is just a small chunk compared to the other lectures, but this is the essential basis you need in any chemistry study. So a lot of students are afraid of taking any mathematical or physical course, but I mean, most of them pass it. And I have to say that it's really necessary for you then in future years, not only in the bachelor study, but in any follow-up master or a PhD study. Then there is a lot of biochemistry, some biology, as I mentioned as well, molecular biology, but also genetics. There are also some basics of informatics, mainly bioinformatics, also statistics. And of course, you have a full pool of free elective subjects where you can take anything. In Budweis, you can actually also take sport courses for free at the university, but I have to tell you that those ECTS are unfortunately not granted at the JKU. So you are free to take those courses, but you can't have them on your diploma in the end. But it's a nice distraction, you know, during the summer semester, for instance. And because you get both titles, 2 titles of the Bachelor of Science, you have to make 2 bachelor theses. So one is at the University of South Bohemia. This usually covers some more biological topic, but it's not a rule. And the second bachelor thesis is actually much shorter because this is done at the JKU. And given the nature of chemistry topics, it is usually some kind of a synthesis, which is in a timely manner much shorter than when you have to cultivate some living organism, you know. So in total, you have 2 theses. One of them is longer in time, the other one is shorter, but it also depends purely on the student, what is exactly the topic. So here are some things which you will get to know a lot during our studies. So a big emphasis is put on lab practicals. So the hands-on experience which you get in the labs is really none of a kind, because you get to learn the most in the labs, mainly by making a lot of mistakes. But that is fine. This is what we want students to do. Of course, it is compulsory for a student to be personally present in the labs, but also in exercises and seminars, in some kind of combined lectures where you have part of the lecture theoretical, the other part is hands-on. And generally, For every lab, you need a corresponding lecture and you need exam from this lecture in order to be able to enter the lab. That is a general rule, not only in biological chemistry, but in any other chemistry curricula. And there is basically not a semester where you wouldn't spend a couple of weeks in the labs, which is really nice. We also put a lot of emphasis on a teamwork, whether it's in the labs or during the seminars, because this is really important for all graduates of nowadays life sciences. I would say you have to be able to cooperate with partners also from other fields, and you have to know how to work together to achieve any goal. So you will get to know all the basics of mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology. The whole study is highly research oriented and research driven, I would say, in the whole biological chemistry field. You will get to know the basics of the most important methods in chemistry, biochemistry, microbiology, and molecular biology. And this is very important if you want to apply afterwards for any kind of company, whether it be a small type of industry or a bigger one. You need to know the standard procedures of many different techniques, and these are covered as well. Of course, the same importance is in the soft skills department, because it is nice to obtain very good, valid results, but we also need to know how to communicate now to the broader audience. Sorry, I just have to mute someone. And as I already mentioned, so the communication is the key. You have to know, for instance, also how to publish your results, how to write a scientific article, and how to cooperate with other persons in your field, but also outside. And you should be able in the end as a graduate to really solve any problems, to design any kind of experiment and to carry out independently, to know what the outcome is, what might be the potential problems, and so on. And this is really sort of in industry in general. So this is just an example of particular techniques or topics which are covered during our biological chemistry study. So of course, it all starts with a laboratory safety. So you have to know how to behave or how not to behave in a lab, not to get injured or get somebody else injured, which can happen, of course, very easily. So in the mathematics, you will start at the very basics. This is just to level up all the students because they are coming from very different backgrounds. They are not only coming from Austria or Czech Republic, but also outside of the Europe. So to get them on the same level of knowledge. So it starts very slowly, but in the end, you will get to the much more complicated operations like Fourier transformation, for instance. In the physics, you will go through all the main laws of thermodynamics, mechanics, and also a very important for any kind of a chemist, quantum mechanics. For the analytical techniques, you will get to know all types of chromatographies, electrophoresis, colorimetry, but also mass spectrometry, which is widely used nowadays, but also some specialized ones like batch clamp method or PCR, sequencing of a protein, and so on. Of course, we would also like our students to know how to analyze structures from very small, tiny molecules, organic molecules, let's say, to large biological macrocomplexes like ribosomes, for instance. And for this, you can use various methods from microscopes. So our students get to know, for instance, confocal microscopy, fluorescence microscopy, but also a lot of types of spectroscopies from nuclear magnetic resonance to Raman, IR, also X-ray crystallography, and sequencing of DNA and RNA. A lot of importance is also put for the synthesis in general, starting from, for instance, organic synthesis or inorganic synthesis, going into the preparation of your samples in living organisms. And this is, for instance, expression of various recombinant proteins, so manipulation with the DNA and RNA, also chemical synthesis, for instance, of the DNA. So What are your options after graduating this program? As you might know already, Linz has a huge history of a big chemical industry, mainly of the synthesis one. So there is a lot of organic chemistry going on, for instance, and of course, any kind of international experience already during your bachelor is very sought of in any kind of career afterwards. So you can basically go to anywhere in the world and you can choose whether it is an academic career or if you go directly to some kind of a company. The very important thing is also that the study is highly multidisciplinary, which is a big advantage, again, in the industry, but also at different various agencies, whether it be a national one or EU or international one. Types of industries which are very interesting for our students are, for instance, pharma industry, food, biotechnology, a lot of biotechnology actually, medicinal chemistry, environmental chemistry, but also R&D, so research and development in general, or optimization of the product evolution and so on. So with bachelor, of course, you can't be straight away leader of a big group. You can start at a very low level and you can, of course, work yourself up. But I have to say 90% or 95% of our students continue in any kind of a master program and then even in a PhD. So with that, you can do, of course, much more. So this is a particular example of our profile of graduates of biological chemistry. So you can see that less than a half stands for a follow-up, a master program of biological chemistry. The same amount of people, however, go to a master program to different universities. You can see some selection of them in here. So for instance, you can go for a master of microbiology with this, or for a master of biochemistry, organic chemistry. We also had students who went for marine biology. And I have to say that none of our students anytime had any problem with being accepted to the universities where they wanted to go, to international universities. And also not only in Europe or in Austria or in Czech Republic, they could really go anywhere. And then around 12% of students stay for a master still at JKU or University of South Bohemia, but they just switch the program to, let's say, more biology oriented or more technical chemistry oriented one. So what are the mainly frequently asked questions? So we have also a possibility of scholarships. Of course, you have various scholarship possibilities for students, for instance, coming from Upper Austria or from some particular country. So all this information you can actually get from our international office. But for especially the second year, which is spent fully in Budweis, you get an Erasmus scholarship, which covers accommodation and traveling expenses, maybe something more. It depends on the amount. And I already mentioned that you have possibility to either rent out a flat together with other students. For this, it's good to have contact to the students coming from upper levels, so to say, but yeah, I have to say that we have a very nice contacts in between our groups because the study is not huge, even though at the beginning we might have, let's say, 50 students starting in the first semester. Every year around 10 students will graduate. So it's a very cozy program. All the students know their teachers and vice versa, which is also a big advantage. And one more important thing, during the first year, you have to focus on getting enough ECTS to be eligible to get the scholarship for the second year. But also you need to pass main labs in order to be able to take part in the labs in the second semester at the University of South Bohemia. So this is just a summary of important context. So on the left, you see the general context for our university, for applying for any kind of a program and so on. And on the right side, you see contact to Professor Miller, who is the main contact person, and so to say, one of the fathers of this study program. So you can always email him, or you can go to our webpage. Or if you have any practical personal questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm also available. So we have our own web page. You can find all the relevant information there. You can find practical tips, deadlines, curricula, all this kind of stuff. We have also a Facebook page and a Facebook group, which I recommend very much, because there you can really meet all the students, especially in these kinds of days where you can't meet really in person. You can ask them, what were the main problems for them, what you should look out for, and so on. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, now is the time.
Thank you very much. I'm Andrei, and I would like to ask some questions, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I'm interested in some research in my studies, during my studies, and I would like to know if there are some possibilities, opportunities, if some students did that before, if they went to some other institutions to do their research, for example, not in Linz, not in Budweis, but for example, for some research in Vienna or for some research in other European countries, because there are many research groups nowadays, and even for undergraduate. And so if I have some topics which I'm interested in, maybe I could go and do my thesis in other institutions.
Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, all these kinds of things are really supported. So the important thing is for you, I would focus first on passing the basic labs. So you have, the safety clearance, let's say, the basic techniques, and then the only thing is that you have to find a supervisor that can be either for the Linz or Budweis thesis. And with this one, you can just consult it and he can send you anywhere, basically. The only thing is that you need some official supervisor at one of the universities who would then, help you with writing up the thesis and so on. But you don't have to carry it out exactly in here, or you can have an extra internship, for instance, over the summer in between the years. That's also possible, and it's really supported.
Okay, I see. That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. So does anyone else have any question?
Hello, my name is Anelia, and
hello.
I just wanted to ask if you have any idea if the studies in the winter semester that is coming, if it's possible for it to be not online but on campus or mixed.
Yeah, we all hope so. So that unfortunately doesn't depend on us. I mean, right now, we have all the practicas running. So that's the most important thing, which we accomplished, that we can still keep the students in the labs, so they don't lose this hands-on experience. All the other lectures and so on is still held online for all the curricula. So hopefully, if the situation will be better, we will very much like to have everything on the campus, of course. But yeah, we will see probably first in the summer how it will be. But I mean, it is important that you will still get to go into the labs, you will still get to do the exercises and so on. So you are not missing on this part of the study. But of course, the lectures and so on is still held online, like, this event, unfortunately.
Yeah, I understand. But in the first semester, are there some labs exercises then?
Yes, there are. So there is the introductory lab. There is also a short safety lab, just to get you, acquainted with the basic safety measurements in the labs. And there is a general chemistry lab at the end of the first semester.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you don't have any...
I would have one more question. Admiring the admission program or the admission to this program. In Slovakia, we get later our maturas, and I would like to ask if you accept it like after April. Yes, after April. And how long does it take till we get back notice if we got into the program or not?
Yeah, So that's completely fine, having Matura later this year. That's not a problem. So please check the website of the study agenda office at the JKU. What is the exact deadline for applying for the program? Usually for like EU countries, it's quite fast because we have similar types of Matura, you know, in all the countries. So it's, let's say, 1 or 2 months. So it's fine to apply for the program, let's say in July, for instance, and then you can still start in October. And if you're coming from Slovakia, especially, you also have a possibility to apply first in Budweis at the Czech University and then come to Linz, you know, because I mentioned that all students will get to register at both universities, but there is a small difference if they register first at the JKU and then later at Budweis, or if they first register in Budweis and then later at JKU. So for instance, students who will register in Budweis, they get scholarship for their first year at JKU because they are spending it abroad. On the other hand, students who will start at JKU, they're at home, let's say during the first year, and they will get a scholarship for their second year. So maybe you can also check out the web page of biological chemistry at the University of South Bohemia, or you can just email me. I can give you the contact there, and you can also register there. So maybe it's easier for you. But there they have a short entrance exam. I guess this is similar in Slovakia because usually you have entrance exams. At the universities, it's not something tough, but it just needs to be carried out. So that really depends on what do you prefer.
Okay, thank you. And the second question to this topic would be, when would I know that I got into the program? Like, because I read on the webpage of your university that it can take up to 6 months.
Yeah, now it's been delayed a little bit because of all the issues, you know, the people can't be really on campus and they do it from home. So it takes a little bit more time to get all the data. But I mean, if you apply right after Matura, you will for sure make it until October. And also for international students, because there it might take a little bit longer because you need all the documents, you know, confirmed officially to have a proper stamp and so on by authorities. And you also are waiting for a visa. Some of them are even delayed, so they don't get to start on the 1st of October, but they can still join, let's say, 1 month afterwards, because they are still missing just on the beginning of the lectures, but they won't miss the most important labs. So don't worry, that you will make it in time for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Sorry, I would like to ask some more question.
Yeah.
It had happened, and I'm international student, so that's all about myself. That I will apply for visa, and it may be delayed in the future. And if, for example, lectures start and I'm not still at the JKU,
yeah,
I could, for example, listen to that online.
Yes, exactly. So what we usually do in this case, so you are still applied as a student. You are, I mean, your registration is still not yet closed officially, so to say, but you can still visit the lecturers and you can get in touch with the lecturers, you know, personally, so that they know that you are still waiting, let's say, for the final mark or for the visa. So that's fine.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so if you don't have any more questions, I thank you very much for your attention and for joining today's session. I wish you all the best in all your studies, whether you choose this one or some other one, and also have a nice summer. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.